Hello, I am Baron Dipitous, and I wanted to kind of make this video about one particular thing uh, about this new Brawlhalla update that released today. Today, February 15th. This is probably coming. This video will probably come out the day after the update comes out, but um, there are lots of little quality of life changes and everything, which I'm pretty happy about. New cosmetics and stuff like that. The new Cassidy skin, uh, new emotes, and new hard version of Horde mode. All these kinds of things, and you can go to brawlhalla.com/patch to kind of see a full explanation of everything. And lots of just like little quality of life things and whatever, which I always appreciate patches like that. My favorite part of this entire patch, the Cassidy skin looks fantastic, but my favorite part is these right here. These tags, basically. They've added these tags to each legend to, like, when you look in the Meet the Legend section. Again, if you on the main menu and you go to Meet the Legend, which is right above the store, you'll see, these two pages look the same, but you see these tags here, and every single legend has them. I believe the main reason they put those there was to help with Battle Pass missions, because sometimes Battle Pass missions ask you to, win with legends from Thera, or win with legends wearing a hat, or something like that. They also talk, and also they have each legend tagged with their weapons as well. So I wanted to, and I've gotten a few questions on Twitter earlier today, about some of these tags. So I thought I would just kind of like go through all of the legends, and I'm going to go A through Z, so Ada to Zariel, and kind of talk about all of the, just kind of go over any of the tags and kind of point out any interesting tidbits that we kind of learn from these, essentially. So just as a general note about these tags, again, they're mainly to help with Battle Pass missions, but also I feel that they also help clarify some little lore details as well, like where some of these legends might be from, or who they're associated, or they're associated with, or their abilities, things like that. And there were also a few surprises as well. I'm aware of at least a couple of things that I was not expecting that are not directly supported by the lore, but they're there anyway. So, assuming that there are no mistakes in here. And I am going to assume that. I'm assuming all of the tags are not there by mistake. And if they are, they'll be fixed later and we'll deal with it, whatever. But yeah, so starting with Ada, pretty simple. Blaster, Spear, and Europop. Because if you read it's in Isaiah's lore. Isaiah's lore says that he's in a techno-fantasy Europop band with Olgrim, Ada, and Fate. So Isaiah, Olgrim, Ada, and Fate are all part of the Europop band. And that band does have a name, by the way. It's the Electric Fight Orchestra, which is a riff on the name Electric Light Orchestra. And we know that because of Moonin's trailer. There was a poster there. But anyway, Arcadia. So we have Spear and Greatsword. Arcadia is from the Feywild. She is the queen of the Feywild. Pet owner. Pet would be the Domo, the beetle, because her, I think is it her spear side sig? Where she rides a beetle that just kind of like charges and everything. So that's her pet, Domo. And then magic user. Yeah, that makes sense. You see her kind of like conjure up this sort of fairy magic with some of her signatures and things like that. She has a magic singing sword. She can fly. She's imbued with this sort of like fey magic and everything. So all of that definitely makes sense. That's cool. Artemis. So we got Rocket Lance and Scythe. Artemis is even though technically she was born as a human named Mary Washington in New York, in America, I can see why they say outer space here, because Artemis may have been born in New York, but she is ultimately from outer space. Like, her powers are from outer space, her armor, like everything important about her right now is from outer space. Semi-human. Okay, this is interesting. I said she was born as a human. The fact that this says semi-human, however, and I kind of suspected this a bit. That confirms to me, she's obviously not completely human. She has space powers. She's able to manipulate dark matter, and her signatures involve a lot of black hole dark matter type stuff. So clearly, and there's nothing said about her parents either in the lore. So there's just that she was sort of kind of um, the immune. She's kind of the universe's immune response. So that's an interesting detail that she's tagged as semi-human, but I'm also, which it doesn't mean that you're less human. It means that you are part human, right? So semi, part human. So I'm not too surprised by that. Hat wearer, I'm pretty sure that just refers to the helmet that she wears, so something on her head there. Asuri, Katars and sword. Bryn chosen. Okay, so this is cool. So Bryn is a Valkyrie, right? A half Valkyrie. And the lore actually has pointed out that some of the stranger and usually more like animalistic kind of like legends, they tend to be here because of Bryn, because and actually Bryn's lore specifically states that because she's part human, she has a particular eye for greatness that many other full Valkyries don't always notice. So Bryn notices like these sort of like Bryn makes these unusual choices for Valhalla. And so, so you'll see, I believe Taros is another Bryn chosen and whatever. Usually, if a character is not clearly human or is like just weird or alien or like animal, furry, whatever, at some point, probably Bryn chosen. I like that. This is not really Brawlhalla lore related, but esports lore. I noticed they have these tags that talk about BCX winners or BCX top 3, which I'm sorry, I don't follow esports enough to remember all like most of the legends that have won BCX or have gotten the top 3 in BCX. So the series tagged as a BCX 2v2 winner, BCX 1v1 top 3 winner. This could actually be kind of fun for like lore purposes as well, because there's kind of a headcanon that I and a few other people, including a couple of devs, have that meta-dev skins could potentially be the kind like what the legends win from like winning a championship or something. And so I would love to see some kind of like lore tie-in between like if a legend wins a BCX or something, then they maybe not get a meta-dev skin, but with something. But in lieu of that, we have these BCX tags that will help with those battle pass missions. But it's also just kind of like a bit of a badge of honor, really. Like Asuri is a top performer, definitely. So I might keep that in mind if I when in any of my fan fiction, that kind of thing. Azoth, wow, he's got a lot. So and also Asuri is semi-human. She started as a human girl, but through some kind of ritual, Asuri and some kind of like cat demon deity something or other were kind of like combined into what we know of Asuri now. Azoth, so bow and axe. He is from Thera. So Thera is basically high fantasy Earth before the fall of Atlantis, and so most of the legends that you might expect in a typical fantasy Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons TTRPG campaign are probably from Thera. So we got like Zal, Jala, Azoth, and probably Sidra and a few others. Pet owner, he has a pet named Dander. So a pet cat named Dander, really adorable. Lin Fei trained. Wow, I did not know that this was a thing. That's cool. Yeah, so Lin Fei's lore shows that she's trained at least like half a dozen legends. Specifically, I believe Azoth's axe down sig, the Shrieking Skulls, where he like raises his arm and there's a sound like ah or something like that with his axe. I think his axe down sig is the Shrieking Skulls move that Lin Fei taught him. Semi-human, I guess semi-human is just the catch-all for like not fully human. So I would classify Azoth as undead. So he's a lich, right? He's a skeleton, but so he's not like fully human. He's not a normal like flesh and blood human. He's a bit more or less than that. Magic user, yeah, you can see magic in his signatures, and he would be familiar with magic with all being resummoned over and over again. Hat wearer, yeah, he has a helmet, makes sense. Baraza, axe and blasters. Okay, yeah. So so each legend has a bot name, right? Like if you have that legend as a bot, then it shows like I forgot what like some of them actually say like some of those bot names actually have the word bot in it. Um, so like Rayman is an example of someone who does not have bot in his bot name. He's called like Ray Machine or something like that. But yeah, anyway, Bataza, Baraza, I don't know, I can't remember. Also another BCX 1v1 winner. Bryn, here we go. Oh, Axe and Spear. She is Asgardian, of course. She is native to Asgard. BCX 2v2 winner, BCX 1v1 winner, semi-human. Yeah, so Bryn, a big part of Bryn's lore that she is half Valkyrie, half human. Her mother is a Valkyrie named Hypernia, and her father is a human knight named Sir Roland. Also BCX 2v2 top 3. Bodvar got hammer and sword. Feywild. So he's not, I don't think he's from the Feywild, but he spent time in the Feywild. Definitely. He was lost and Ember helped him out. Got some BCX and bot stuff. Semi-human. Yep, that makes sense because he is half human, half bear. He has a bear brother. One of his parents is a bear. There we go. Caspian, gauntlets, guitars, and then we have Batavia. Batavia is one of the major locations that comes up a lot in the lore. It's kind of like, I've interpreted it as the kind of Brawlhalla lore version of Transylvania, essentially. We've got another BCX there. Cassidy, Blaster's Hammer, pet owner. So yeah, not many people remember this, but Cassidy has a cougar named Boots. Here we go, giant cougar named Boots, right there. So that is her pet. BCX, bot name, Lin Fei trained. So yeah, so Lin Fei taught Cassidy the tornado move. So the hammer downsig move, I believe. And then Hat Wearer, obviously. Cross, Blaster's Gauntlets, BCX, and Hat Wearer. Not a whole lot there to talk about there. Diana, or Bow Blasters. Feywild. Was she ever in the Feywild? Really? Okay, I think maybe, so I think she's been in the Feywild because, let's see here, she fought for, so when she was ambushed by, the corrupt Order of the Exalted Lion, ambushed by Mordex. She fought for moments of wakefulness, catching a glimpse of the Order's sub-basements of a winding forest of thorns. There we go. She has been dragged through the Feywild until she ended up in the shores of Nastrand in Helheim. She's part of the Order of the Exalted Lion, BCX winner. Batavia, yep, she's the national hero of Batavia, and she killed the Mad King of Batavia 3 times. And then Hat Wearer. Oh, also you may have noticed that the tags change a little bit with each of the skins. So once I go over each of the legends normally, I'm going to also go just briefly look at all the skins to see if there's anything noteworthy. For example, Diana, the only thing I'm seeing that changed is just Hat Wearer, basically. Because some of these, she's not wearing a hat. So, anyway, something to keep in mind. Dusk, yep, Spear, Orb. He's from the Feywild and Magic User, of course. I suspect that pretty much every Orb character, except maybe Reno, is going to be a Magic User. So, yeah. I don't know about Ezio. We'll see. Ember, Bow, Guitars, Feywild, pet owner. So, yeah. So, and bot name. So, she has 2 pets, actually. Her wolf's name is Ash, the Bow side sig, and the Bow neutral sig, Yara, is the Raven Yara. So, Ash, the wolf, and Yara, the Raven. Ezio just has sword orb. Okay. Pretty simple there. Fate. Oh, yeah. Gosh. Wow. She has a lot of tags. So, Scythe, Orb, Bryn chosen. So, and it does say that when Bryn came to offer Fate a place in Brawlhalla, Fate had already packed. So, there's that. Pet owner. You may know that she has a cat named Butterscotch. Another adorable cat. She's part of the Europop band with Ada, Olgrim, and Isaiah. Also, book club. So Scarlet there's something called the Valhallan Ladies Book Club that Scarlet starts. You actually don't see that reference in Scarlet lore. You see that in Zol's lore. But it does mention that Fate is involved in a band and a book club and wins big on poker nights. Obviously, Magic User and Hat Wearer. Probably one of the best hats in Brawlhalla. And BCX 1v1 winner. Nash, Hammer, Spear, and Hat Wearer, I guess. The skin of a saber-toothed tiger. Hattori, Sword, Spear, BCX, bot name, BCX. Isaiah, Cannon, Blasters, Exalted Lion. So not everyone realizes this. So the Order of the Exalted Lion is an order of monster hunters that started with Jala, and then Sir Roland was part of it, and then obviously Diana and Mordex are part of it. You may not realize that Isaiah is also technically part of it because he is a marshal in the Office of let's see, where is it? Office of Emergency Logistics, the OEL. And what does the Office of Emergency Logistics do? They hunt monsters, aliens, monsters, homegrown menace. They fight anomalies, basically, anomalous creatures. And so that's essentially what the Order of the Exalted Lion has done since Jala's time. So anyway, and also part of the Electric Fight Orchestra. And yeah, Jaeyun, Sword, Great Sword, and BCX winners. Jala, Axe Sword, part of Thera. So she was on Earth she was in High Fantasy Earth before Atlantis fell. Pet owner, really? Oh, okay. It's probably it's probably a reference to the Dragon of Conflagration. So the Lord of Scales destroyed her home village. And then some. Young Jala survived, and she seized control of the dragon. So her pet would be a dragon, and then BCX. Oh yeah, also Exalted Lion because she was the first one actually. Apollo. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, she led the armies of Althea to victory against Azog the Zombie Lord, and that's when Apollo gave her the name Exalted Lion. Jiro, sword, scythe, and bot name. Kaya, weapons, and pet owner. Her mammoth name is Blue. Blue Mammoth, of course, obviously. And then BCX. Wow, yeah, all kinds of stuff. Was there anything? No, okay. Jiro got his weapons, and we got BCX. Core, weapons, Asgardian, and bot name. So yeah, so he's Asgardian. So Core and the rest of the golems currently in Asgard were created by Dusk, and even though it says so, Dusk is not necessarily from Asgard; he's from the Feywild. So technically, Core is from the Feywild as well, but Core and the rest of the golems currently live in Asgard. Kind of performing the very difficult manual labor in Asgard. Lin Fei is just Katars and Cannon. That's kind of funny. She only has those two when she's referenced in a tag that appears in at least half a dozen other legends. Okay, here's an interesting one. Lucian. So we got Katars and Blasters, BCX, Hat Wearer. Batavia surprised me, if I'm gonna be honest. I assumed that he was just from France. As Capitaine Edward Lamont, the French Revolution, Count Lucien Degas, the French names, French Revolution, French highwayman, the way he's dressed, and all that kind of stuff. I just kind of assumed he was just always in France. And so maybe that kind of makes me wonder, I could be either mistaken about where Batavia is, or it's very possible that Lucien has just traveled a lot. He's done kidnapping, bank robbing, race fixing, art forgery, horse assassination. He's done a lot of things as a highwayman. He could have traveled a lot, so he could also have spent time in Batavia. He kind of also fits in Batavia a little bit. Just kind of that. Batavia is sort of a gothic horror type place, and so I think Lucien would feel at home there probably. So anyway, I was not expecting that. Magyar, so Hammer Greatsword. Yeah, Magyar is a collection of 100 souls, soldier souls who protect Castle Batavia. Semi-human, yeah, so 100 human souls, and Hat Wearer helmet. Mako got Katars Greatsword and Thera. So again, Thera is Earth before Atlantis fell. Mako was there when Atlantis fell, so she would definitely fall into that category. Mirage, we got Pet Owner and Magic User. So Magic User, she does some of that sand weaving stuff. You see it in some of her SIGs, and you especially see it in the just kind of like at the end of the November 2020 Brawlhalla Welcome to Brawlhalla trailer, animated trailer, where she kind of weaves across the stadium until she reaches Bodvar and kind of like fist bumps him a bit. So she does some magic, and her pet is a camel named Bax. Where's the reference to the camel exactly? Bax, her flying camel. Yeah, exactly. So that's her pet. Mordex. Wow. He has more than Fate. Wow, more tags than Fate. Scythe Gauntlets. Fangwild. Okay, well, if Diana's been through the Fangwild, then Mordex has definitely been through the Fangwild, because assuming he's the one who dragged Diana to Helheim. Mordex was part of the Exalted Lion. BCX. Batavia. Yep, again, Diana and Mordex are, they've been to a lot of the same places. Shapeshifter. So, and Shapeshifter and Semi-Human, obviously he is a werewolf, so that makes sense. BCX, and then Magic User. So you may notice that some of his signatures have ice magic. It kind of talks about in his lore how he overthrew the cult of the Ice Witch, but the Tome of Rituals was lost in the fire, which implies that he took the Tome of Rituals, and that's probably where he learned ice magic that you see in his signatures. Oops, here we go. And then, but yeah, Shapeshifter. That's I assume that he was able to shapeshift before Valhalla, but it says here he was horrified and delighted to find the monster is his true form. So when you go, kind of hints at the idea that in Valhalla you are your true form there, like at the height of your peak, physical condition and everything. So I don't know if he's able to turn into his human form at this point in Valhalla, but he does have a human form. We know that from Battle Pass 4, and he has this werewolf form. Moonin, we have Bow, Scythe, and Asgardian. Also, just for kicks, I want to just look at, Hugin is pretty much the same as well. So Moonin and Hugin are Odin's ravens. They actually are Odin's ravens, like messenger ravens kind of thing in actual Norse mythology. So makes sense that they are Asgardian. Queen Nai, Spear Guitars, Magic User. Yeah, she has the power of 11 weak Aztecan gods within her. So that definitely would be magic. And hat wearer, her crown, headdress, whatever. Nyx, Scythe, Blasters, Bot Name, and Semi-Human. So we don't really know anything about Nyx's past, except that she is currently a freelance reaper. So she's definitely not human. She looks human, but she's definitely not like a normal. She's not like a normal human. So that makes sense to me. Semi-human. Onyx. So Gauntlet's canon. She is part of the book club. It says down here. She hopes she can get the book club reading done. Her stony fingers have trouble with the pages, which I think is adorable. Batavia makes sense. She was a gargoyle at Castle Batavia, basically. And then, of course, BCX. Orion, so Lance and Spear. It's interesting that it says that he's Asgardian because he actually came from out of Asgard. But then again, other tags have said, Fangwild or Asgardian or whatever. Even if they're not necessarily like born in the Fangwild or born in Asgard, they live there. They're considered to be natives from there, essentially. So Orion has pretty much been taken in as a sort of like honorary Asgardian. And he did come from outer space, and of course he had the helmet on. Petra, Gauntlet's Orb, Bryn Chosen. Yep, I think that... Bryn has gone too far this time. She pulled this Petra out of Terminus. So, BCX and Bot winner. Definitely. Ragnir. Katar's Axe. He is from the Fangwild, just like Ember. BCX, Bot name. I think it's probably like Botnir or something like that. Shapeshifter. So he actually does change his shape at will. So you see this firsthand in the Welcome to Brawlhalla November 2020 animated trailer, where Kaya is riding the Ragnir in his full like dragon form, and Kaya's on his back. And then later, Ragnir turns into this like more manageable like humanoid form. And it does say in here that he's a dragon with who's 90 feet long, but a dragon who takes human form to compete. In order to compete, he needs to take this form instead of his full dragon form to make it fair, basically. So Shapeshifter definitely. Rayman, Gauntlet's Axe, BCX. So this is interesting. Outer Space and Magic User. I feel like this is probably BMG's best way of describing that he's from a place that is not Earth. Although, hold on. Petra doesn't say outer space. That's interesting. But, I mean, the Glade of Dreams, where he's from, is not Earth. He came from out of there and, like, through and sort of stumbled upon Valhalla, which I assume he probably went to the Feywild to do that, because the Feywild connects pretty much everything. Although it doesn't say Feywild here, which is interesting. Magic user, I mean, he has the power of the lungs. You know, he has some magical abilities in some of the games. So there's that. Reno, Blaster's Orb. He is from outer space. He's a outer space bounty hunter and, of course, hat wearer. Sir Roland, Rocket Lance Sword, pet owner. So someone asked me about this. I don't. There doesn't seem to be a reference to a pet in Sir Roland's lore, but it could either be something like, you know, he defeated the bilious fire drake, but at the same time, it could also be a reference to his lance ensig. It shows a horse, right? Like he kind of like goes in the air and has the power of a horse or something. So he probably, I mean, as a knight, he probably did have a horse, so that's probably what that is. Lin Fei trained, so yeah, the flaming horse attack. So his lance ensig, Lin Fei taught him that, definitely. And exalted lion, I believe. Where did it say that? Yep, Knight of the Order of the Exalted Lion. It says there in his incredibly long title. Scarlet, we have Hammer, Rocket Lance, of course, Book Club, and bot name. Sentinel, Hammer Guitars, and bot name. Citra, Cannon Sword, and yes, Thera. Taros, Axe Hammer, Bryn chosen. So again, another, like, you know, kind of unusual choice for Valhalla. Not what most Valkyries would choose. They would not normally choose a Minotaur, but Bryn saw potential in him. He is also from Thera. From, you know, I imagine Zol will also be from Thera. So Taros, Zol, Sidra, Jala, and Azoth, all of them lived at around the same time, at around the same place on Earth, basically. Taros did go through through the Feywild, and yeah, semi-human. He is half man, half bull. That's what a Minotaur is. Tezca. Okay, not much here. Battle boots and gauntlets. Anything? Nope, nothing else for Chell. All right. Thatch. Sword, blasters, pet owner, Lin Fei trained, and of course hat wearer. So pet owner and Lin Fei trained. I'm pretty sure those are both referencing the spirit shark. In Lin Fei's lore, it talks about how the only time that the pirate was ever, that Thatch was ever grateful was when Lin Fei showed him how to channel his spirit shark, and that which is basically like his sword ensig is where you see the spirit shark. So there's that. Thor, Hammer, Orb, Asgardian, obviously he's a native of Asgard, and BCX. Olgrim, Axe, Lance, he is also a native of Asgard. He is part of the Techno Fantasy Europop band with Ada, Fate, and Isaiah. BCX, and Hat Wearer, just barely. He has that kind of like, you know, small hat right there. Val, Gauntlet, Sword, Bryn chosen. Yeah, and I mean that's not too surprising because Val and Bryn have a friendship. They enjoy kung fu movies and making fun of Orion's mysterious cool guy act. Which most other Valkyries are enamored by, but Bryn and Val are having none of it. And then BCX. Vector, so Rocket Lance bow from outer space, I guess. That's interesting. His lore says that he's from the far, far future Earth, basically. But I guess if you're that far in the future, there's probably acquainted with well acquainted with space. And then Shapeshifter, he's a transformer, basically. Like, you know, obviously. He goes from, like, you know, humanoid shape to aircraft shape and vice versa. Volkov, Axe, Scythe, Batavia. He was the king of Batavia at one point. Lin Fei trained, so we don't know if there's a specific move that Lin Fei taught him, but he did dedicate his first Asgardian cup to Lin Fei. So Lin Fei obviously trained him at some point. Shapeshifter. So you don't see too much of and I mean semi-human. He is a vampire and magic user. You know, like blood magic, and you see several of his signatures have kind of like, you know, bat magic and other kinds of stuff, magic, evil energy. But shapeshifter, does he change his shape? He does, actually. If you kind of like take a look at his locking animation. So of course that is the I mean that's like the skin, but if you look at the locking animation, he actually like kind of changes his face to a very creepy looking like bat Nosferatu type thing. So anyway, so he does and he probably has the ability to change into a bat as well. I mean he sprouts wings and stuff. A lot of vampires are known to do that. Okay, so Lord Brax, we have rocket lance, blasters, obviously outer space. Bryn Chosen is interesting. I don't think I actually knew that, but because I don't think there's a direct reference in the lore that tells us that Bryn was the one who brought Lord Brax. Maybe there is somewhere that I'm forgetting, but it makes sense because again, Lord Brax is a rather unusual choice for Valhalla. So who else would have brought him to Valhalla but Bryn? Wushang, Gauntlet, Spear, Lin Fei trained. There's a fun encounter that Wushang had with Lin Fei. Although Wushang didn't know it was Lin Fei, he saw it was he was a war general and a young Lin Fei was protecting her village, and Wushang was inspired by that and decided to stop being a warmonger and became a Buddhist monk instead, or a monk of some kind. I'm assuming some kind of Buddhist monk or whatever. There's those overtones there. There's Buddhist. There's that's clearly the inspiration of some kind. Anyway, and also Lin Fei was the one who showed him kind of helped him perfect his flaming fist technique. Zol, cannon, axe, yep, Thera, pet owner, BCX. So pet owner, what? Did he have a pet? I'm trying to remember if he had one. So he seized command of the Iron Legion from the Troll Titan with a brutal downstroke. I'm trying to think here. So he had a Minotaur release tactic, but I don't think Taros was his pet, really. Oh, that's what it is. He rode a T-Rex into battle. That's what it was. He has a pet T-Rex, which is pretty epic, I gotta say. And of course, PCX. Yumiko, bow, hammer. So yeah, Fangwild and shapeshifter. So she does. So in the Welcome to Brawlhalla animated trailer, November 2020, we see Ember, riding Ash through the Fangwild, and we also see Yumiko in fox form riding alongside Ember and Ash and Yara, running alongside them. So that shows that she's a shapeshifter. But did she go to the Fangwild? It doesn't necessarily say Fangwild in here, but Yumiko's lore focuses on her consistent battle against these wolves that keep threatening her home village of Aoku. The forest came to be called Kiba, the Fang. So I'm pretty sure these wolves and the evil witch Yukiona are connected to the Fangwild in some way. So Yumiko has indeed been to the Fangwild. And then finally, Zario, Gauntlet, Bow, and BCX 2v2 top 3. And so now I'm just going to quickly go through all of these to see if anything changes. So far, the only changes I've seen have been hat wearer. I'm pretty sure, but I just want to make absolutely sure there's like nothing else crazy that I'm missing here. So far just kind of going through. Okay, yeah, hat wearer, cool. They just wanted to make sure that like it's accurate. So it's accurate about like who is and who is not wearing a hat, I guess. And personally, I don't care too much lore-wise whether someone's wearing a hat or not. Although there could be some interesting implications if certain things are not counted as a hat. For example, I saw like a couple of bandanas like worn tight to the head were not counted as hats. But yeah, I think this is a fantastic little quality of life change that I really like. And honestly, it kind of helps me a little bit because, well, all Lin Fei skins have hats. Cool. It kind of helps me a bit as well because there have been times where people would, DM me on Twitter or something, or like at me on Twitter to kind of like ask, who are the legends from Thera, or like, who's who are all the Asgardians and that kind of thing. And I would often try to answer, but I also like usually I don't remember everyone off the top of my head, which it's not like everyone needs to know. It's not like you only need like you only need one legend to fulfill the mission usually. But it also sometimes gets a little bit like I will admit sometimes it does get a little bit tiring to kind of like not know offhand all these things that the battle pass keeps asking about. But so this is it's just really good. It's good to have this clarification. Honestly, I'm very grateful for that. And also I definitely don't. I'm definitely very happy to see people asking me lore questions. I'm typing through a couple times sometimes to make sure I don't miss anything. I love it when people ask me lore questions. It's just that when it comes to the battle pass missions, sometimes I'm just kind of like I don't know. Sometimes I'm a bit surprised by what the game counts for certain lore based missions. So I felt like I wasn't always the most reliable source, but I kind of was the best source until this feature was added. So I'm very grateful to the devs for doing that, for adding that. I thought this would be a fun little video not little. This video is kind of long, but yeah. If you ever wanted to hear Baron Dipitous' take on all of these tags, there you go. You got it. And it is looking like the only real difference between skins is just whether they're wearing hats or not. And yeah, that's it. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I hope this was a helpful little resource for you guys, and continue enjoying the Battle Pass Season 7, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Until next time, all the best.